Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. I'm Chris Horner. This is stage 9 of the Vuelta a España 2024. Today's race brought to you by Lupine Lights. Lupine Lights, the finest lights I've ever ridden, and I've been riding them since 2019 with Bluetooth connectivity, with the possibility, of course, of running your headlamp on your bars or running it up on your head. Lupine Lights have you covered for all different ways that you want to light up your trails and light up your roads. If you're looking to save 24%, use the code Lupine Lights 24. Now let's get into today's stage 9. It's going to be magnificent. Guys, I mean, on the Chesterfield magnificent, screaming at the television all day long. I cannot do it justice. You're going to have to go watch the whole 95-kilometer show in today's stage if you really want to understand everything, but I'll do with the best I can. When the cameras come on, we got a group of 26 riders. When the cameras go back to the peloton, we see they're curb to curb looking nervous and everyone's fighting for position because on today's stage at 178 kilometer with 3 category 1 climbs coming, 2 of them are the same. Hazallanas, that climb is a monster. And in 2013 at the Vuelta a España on stage 10, I was wearing that jersey back there and I won this stage and of course wrapped up the Vuelta a España to finish when we're going up La Angliru on the last days of that year's 2013 Vuelta a España. But this stage 10 was magical and today's looking the same way with the peloton incredibly nervous. We go back up and look at the group of 26 up there at about a 4.5 minute gap on the peloton. Well, Israel Premier Tech didn't make it. Remember yesterday they were riding on the front, bringing back the brakes, so Primoz Roglic can go up and win the stage? Well, today they didn't make the break of 26 riders, but this is very interesting. We got 3 riders from UAE Team Emirates up there. Adam Yates is one. He's not much of a threat on general classification. At about 9 minutes and 40 seconds thereabouts, he's about 27th on GC. So you wouldn't think it'd be too nervous up there, but you got David Gaudu in there, and he's got a teammate too with Stefan Kuhn. That means 3 UAE Team Emirates riders that are going to want to win the stage. And you have FDJ's Gaudu up there with his teammate Stefan Kuhn. So you got guys that start riding the front, and we're coming into the first Category 1 climb at about 90 kilometers to go. Once this group of 26 hits this climb, it blows up into pieces because Marc Soler, the Soler-ism's on the front. And I told you guys he's losing the ism. He looks fantastic. Guys, he's riding marvelous on the pedals. This is exactly what you want to do. You want to get Adam Yates, Jay Vine deep into this race and hit the Hazallanas climb so that they can start blowing things up because they got to do that climb twice. And this climb that they're on right now, 9 kilometers long at about 7%. It's a steep, steep climb. The same climb we did in 2013 on stage 10. So both these climbs we did in my day. And I can tell you this climb is incredibly stiff and 7% is not exactly accurate because when they get to the top, near the top, it descends a little bit and then it goes back up hard. So I'd say it's closer to probably about 8.5%, 9%. Not quite as hard as a Hazallanas, but it is a difficult climb. Now, with Soler up there driving it, it's going to pieces up there, and we got about a 9-rider group up front. Then we look at the back as the peloton's getting driven by Bora Hansgrohe now on the front going full gas with Danny Martinez. He doesn't stay up there too long, and then he blows. It's time now for Giovanni to get on the front. With the pace of Giovanni, the back of the group starts blowing up, and then we see Richard Carapaz, EF Education, throwing in attack. He's got to make up 4 minutes right now in the front group if he wants to get across and try to win the stage. He's going full gas. The cameras will go back up to the group that's 8-9 riders right now with Soler driving full gas. They're going to drop over on the slight descent, but the climb's not over when they start going back up. Darren Rafferty right there. We'll see him in his national championship jersey there from Ireland as he drops out the back. What's happening with 500 meters to go? Well, we go up to the front for the KOM here for the front group passing, and we're going to see David Gaudu get maximum points on the KOM. But Darren Rafferty's dropping back. What's he doing? He has to drop back because he wants to wait right at the top of the KOM because Richard Carapaz is coming. Remember, I already told you that. With Richard Carapaz going full gas, Darren Rafferty knows when you look at the pictures of him earlier before he dropped off that he's hurting. So he's got to stop right at the top, wait there for Carapaz as the group of now 8 riders dropping down the descent. We're going to see Stefan Kuhn from FDJ driving the front. He is marvelous on the front of the group because he's a time trial specialist. And Soler is not bad either. So with a climber climber going full gas up that last climb. Now Soler going down, and with Koen on the front, they're putting time into the field behind. But Richard Carapaz has got some help because Darren Rafferty's now on the front, dropping down this descent. I've been down this descent, and there's times you're hitting easily 90 kilometers an hour, if not 100 kilometers an hour when you're in the peloton proper, but nobody's in the peloton because when I go back to that first climb here on stage 9, well, it's blowing up all over the places and getting smaller as we see Bora Hansgrohe driving the front. They'll drop over the top at about 5 minutes, 5.5 minutes, and then as they drop down the descent, they're trying to do damage control to the group up front with Bora Hansgrohe riding up there with Giovanni. Now we're coming into the valley here. We're going to come back up a little bump that's twisty. Then they're going to go across the dam. And up top we got 8 riders with Soler still driving. Soler's coming into the Hazallanas right now. This is a climb that they're going to do a circuit on. They'll go up it, drop down the same descent that we just saw, wrap back up the switchbacks by the dam, along the dam, then drop back into the Hazallanas. And as we see this group of 8, as they do the final little technical descent, once they come into this hard right turn, you see the front breakaway riders of 8, they do the hard right, they follow it by left, they go across the bridge. The road gets a little bumpy there as it's more kind of concrete-ish. I don't know what you call this kind of material, but a hard right turn, and then the Hazallanas starts proper. Now, when the peloton starts to climb, they got a 4-minute and 30-second gap on the GC favorites back there, but Carapaz is somewhere back there. And if I show you Darren Rafferty on the front there, the last time for Carapaz, he caught guys that were coming out the back of that group when it was 26 riders, passed them all over the place. He had Wout van Aert's group wrapped up, and now Darren Rafferty's blowing just before they start that little technical descent. So Richard Carapaz is throwing down as hard as he can. He comes through and he starts the Hazallanas too. I'll call him at about 2 minutes, but it's difficult to tell because the clock's starting to disappear up on the screen. Now with Carapaz going full gas, with the group up there hitting the Hazallanas, they've just blown up to pieces. First it was Soler dropping off, then Torsten Treyen, we'll see you come out the back. Stefan Kuhn's coming out the back. Pablo Castrillo there, he's coming out the back from Kern Pharma. And then Hoppa, Chris Hoppa's getting dropped out for Jaco Lula. That means we got 3 guys in front because Jay Vine is going to work for Adam Yates. With Jay Vine on the front, Go-Do still there, so we got 3 riders in the front, but these 2 guys aren't going to be there too long with Jay Vine doing about 3 kilometers on this climb. It's time now for them to blow up, Jay Vine and Go-Do that is, because Adam Yates is going solo. We see Adam Yates throwing down. He's got about 58 kilometers to go in today's stage 9 of the Vuelta a España. And in the back, Carapaz is blowing through guys that are getting dropped from the front group all over the place as he's trying to catch the front group there of Adam Yates. But he's still about 2 minutes back. Now we start looking at the favorites. Bora Hansgrohe coming to this first passage here, the Hazallanas. And there's a 5.5 minute gap like I already told you. They got numbers though with, of course, Giovanni up there. Lipovitz is up there. Vlasov is up there. And Primoz Roglic. And the polka dot KOM jersey, he's up there too. Ben O'Connor's looking fantastic. He has Felix Gall and a bunch of other teammates still in this group, but it's getting smaller in size. As we go back up to the front, Adam Yates is flying over the top of the KOM at 5 minutes and 33 seconds, but he's solo. We start looking behind him. It's Carapaz, and he's coming in at about 2 minutes. The time to Carapaz is always difficult to tell, but I'll call it 2 minutes at this moment with Carapaz going over the top of the KOM. Now the peloton went curb to curb just for a second. Lipovitz was sitting there up there with Giovanni as everyone took a little bit of rest. Then Giovanni's work was done for the day. So Lipovitz has been on for about 50% of this climb. We'll call it about 4 kilometers. And this climb at 7 kilometers and 9.5% is a monster. So Lipovitz has been doing a fantastic job as he crosses over the top of the KOM. Now, up front, they're bombing down the descent. We'll see Adam Yates. He's got his team car next to him, giving him water, feeding him all the time. And as he comes down and stops, finishes the descent, it's time to go back up that little switchback up to the dam. Adam Yates is looking fine on the pedals. He's putting time into everyone, and the time's starting to grow back there to Carapaz. As we look back further back at the peloton, though, it's getting interesting back there because we'll see the peloton start losing time. Now we'll see Lidl Trek start riding the front. Ineos will get on the front and start riding too. I know AG2R was up there, and of course Lipovitz was in good position and riding on the front from time to time, helping out those teams, but they're all still losing time up there to Adam Yates. Now when he starts to climb, he's got 2 minutes and 50 on Carapaz, but Carapaz is going to have some company going up this climb. Adam Yates has got 6 minutes and 40 seconds on the peloton when they come through and start this climb, and it's got Bora Hansgrohe all over the front. Now we start looking at Bora Hansgrohe and what their strategy is going to be. Now is the time to blow it up. If I brought you back to the first passage up to Hazallanas with about 62 kilometers to go, you could say that Primož Roglic had some fantastic form, maybe light it up there, but I think it was always better to stay with your teammates from Bora Hansgrohe as long as they can keep bringing back time on Adam Yates. They were at the front, but they weren't necessarily bringing back time. Now we're coming into this climb. It's time for Primož to go to work. Bora Hansgrohe's all over the front. Lipovic is up there, Vlasov is up there, Primož Roglic is up there, and then it starts blowing up the group. It's split into two, and Felix Gall sitting on the last of the group there of another 7-8 riders back there of GC favorites as the gap's starting to get wider. Now all of a sudden things start going a little haywire for Bora Hansgrohe because Vlasov starts getting dropped. As he's getting dropped, Felix Gall starts bridging across, but Vlasov's coming out the back with Sepp Kuss. We start looking at the front. It's Lipovic on the front of the peloton. This is a crucial moment, and this is a small mistake here from Bora Hansgrohe. Lipovic is setting too hard of a pace. He's got a little bit of a gap on all of the big-time GC favorites because Mas is there. Ben Healy is there. Sivakov is there. Primož Roglic is there, but he's gapped off from his teammate Lipovic. Lipovic starts looking left down the road there as he's got a gap on Primož Roglic. This has given everybody the sign, all the GC guys in this group, that Primož Roglic is having a bad moment. This is why we don't see him going solo right at this moment, because Lipovic has got a gap. That means Primož Roglic is going bad. That means it's given signs for Mas to throw an attack. The Movistar rider throws in a vicious attack. Sivakov's trying to follow there as he's trying to close the gap for UAE team members because he's got Adam Yates up the road, so he's got to get up to Mas's wheel. He closes up, but when we look at the back of the group back there, they drop the speed a little bit. Felix Gall from AG2R, the teammate of Ben O'Connor wearing the race leader's red jersey, he bridges across and starts setting some tempo. As he's setting some tempo, the two riders in front, well, they're getting ready to go solo right now. Mas is, because Sivakov's coming out the back. Now they slowed up a little bit in that back group, and we saw a couple more riders like Landa get onto the back. That's making the group grow a little bit in size, but up front, Adam Yates is doing a fine job on the pedals, still going solo here on Hazallanas. Carapaz, same scenario. He's riding the front. He had some help from David Gaudu when he caught him earlier in the stage, but now David Gaudu's getting dropped and Carapaz is going solo too. So we got 1 and 1 chasing all over the place, and then bodies are spread out everywhere. I mean, all over this Hazallanas climb now. We start looking at Felix Gall riding the front. He's trying to do damage control for Ben O'Connor. This is when you want to ride the front. I know I tell you guys all the time, you don't ever ride with Primož Roglic, but this is the time to ride because Primož Roglic sent out the red alert sign that he's feeling bad here on stage 9 of the Vuelta a España when Mas jumped across. Certainly showed the signs that he's going bad when Lipovic was opening up the gap, but now with Mas up the road and gaining 40 seconds on this group and Roglic can't close it, it's time for AG2R to go to work. With Gall on the front, he's setting pace all the way up this Hazallanas climb. We look up to Adam Yates as he crosses the KOM line, 2 minutes up on Carapaz, 3 minutes up on David Gaudu. He's got 4:50 on Mas, and he's got 5:50 on the peloton being led over the top from AG2R. With that in mind, Adam Yates is bombing the descent. It's technical, it's fast, and as I told you, the speeds are massive. Easily 80 kilometers an hour, so we're talking 50 miles an hour with curves, but sometimes, like I said, I've gotten up to 90 and 100k an hour coming down this descent when I'm in the group, so Adam Yates has to be fantastic. The chasers behind, we see that it's Mas coming out of this turn here of a right turn, setting up for the left. As he's setting up to the left, he has Jay Vine on his wheel, who he caught earlier in the stage. Now as they're coming through the corner here on the left side, all of a sudden we lose him because of the wall. Once the camera comes around the wall, we see Mas right there. His back end starts sliding hard to the right. When he does, he high sides. Once it high sides, the back wheel is up in the air and he's only on his front tire going straight to the guardrail. Luckily for Mas at this moment, the guardrail opens up and there's a little bit of a parking space. Granted, it's all gravel and he's on road tires here, so it's not looking very good if you're sitting on the Chesterfield for Mas. But Mas gets the back wheel back down on the pavement, goes off in the dirt. The guardrail opens up. As it opens up, he's going through the dirt and it's getting crazy and scary right now for Mas. His right foot comes out as he's using his right foot to try to help slow the bike down and keep the bike upright. It bounces through some ruts there. Look at his chain dangling there just down below. As he comes out of the ruts, he gets back onto the pavement. Somehow Enric Mas from Movistar have saved this. He's back clipped in his pedals, but his chain's off. Now we'll see him reach down and put his chain back on. Then he starts sprinting as he's got Jay Vine in front of him. Up front, though, Adam Yates is having a fantastic ride, and unlike Mas, he's flying through all these corners, but he's losing a little bit of time on Carapaz and the rest of the peloton. But he had a ton going over the top of the KOM. As he comes into about 8 kilometers to go, we start getting in the city. You know right now that Yates is going to win today's stage. It's just a matter of how the GC is going to mix up when we're talking about the chasers from behind. We start looking at Richard Carapaz back there going full gas. He's at about 2 minutes, 1 minute 50 seconds coming into the city. Then we look further back. Mas has wrapped up David Gaudu, and he's got Jay Vine on his wheel. So there's 3 riders there, but they only have about a 10-15 second gap on the GC favorites. Now closed up on Mas because everyone in that group of 8-10 riders was rotating through, with the exception of Sivakov, because, well, it's his teammate Adam Yates going up the road, trying to win the stage and going to win the stage. As he's coming into 1 kilometer to go, he's looking fantastic, comes through the last of the bends, sits up, kisses his ring, and then of course the arms go wide as he celebrates stage 9 victory here at the Vuelta a España, and he's going to move up on the general classification. Next across the line and coming out of the corner, Richard Carapaz, sprinting all the way to the line because he knows he's racing for general classification. He'll get second on the stage, about 1 minute and 40 seconds back from the time of Adam Yates, and he'll move up on the general classification too, moving into third on GC when it's all said and done. We look at the GC favorites. They wrapped up Mas, David Gaudu, and Jay Vine. As they wrapped them up, they're losing time up there to Adam Yates, as he's already finished today's stage. They're going full gas. They hit 1K. We look at the front of the group there, and Mas throws in another attack, but it's brought back right away. Now it's Lipovets there from Bora Hansgrohe leading out the sprint. As he comes out of the right turn, he's leading out, but Ben O'Connor's in about 4th, 5th position. As Ben O'Connor's sitting 4th or 5th, he's got Enric Mas just in front of him. The sprint starts with Lipovets, but his legs must start being able to blow right now, but fast enough where Mas can't hold the wheel. Mas opens up the gap. Ben O'Connor has to come around the gap at about 100-125 meters to go. He closes up on the 3rd place wheel there. We come into 25-50 meters to go. It's going 3 wide across the boulevard here when we're going to see the bike throw from Ben O'Connor wrap up the podium spot here on stage 9 of the Vuelta a España, and he's going to grab 4 seconds on Primoz Roglic here. Who saw this coming? When we see the GC, it's all tightened up. Carapaz moved up to 3rd on the general classification over Mas. That was rough. Mas actually looked like he had one of really, really good days here, and he lost time, but Primoz Roglic didn't gain time either on Ben O'Connor, so it was a day wasted here on stage 9. But when we look further back, Adam Yates has moved from 27th all the way up to 7th in the top 10 here of the general classification, so it mixed up all over, and Tibieri from Bahrain Victorious lost time and dropped out of the top 10, having a dismal day here on stage 9 of the Vuelta a España. So mix-ups all over, but still very tight battle with Ben O'Connor in the race leader's jersey still here at 3 minutes and 53 seconds, I believe it was, if I remember correctly. Like and subscribe. We got a battle here at the Vuelta a España. I'll see you on the next edition real soon.